Assalamu alaikum and welcome everyone. I am Dr. Danish Ali Mazhar. You are watching Danish Learning Wala, where we explore ideas that inspire learning, personal growth, and professional success. Today's topic is learning from failure, turning setbacks into opportunities. Every successful person has experienced failure at some point. The difference is not that successful people never fail, is it that they learn, adapt, keep moving forward. Today, I will be asking ChatGPT some thought provoking questions to understand how we can transform our failures into valuable lessons and future success. Let's begin. Many people fear failure. Why do we naturally fear failing, and how can we begin changing that mindset?
Checking. Great opening question. Many people fear failure because from early on, failure, disappointment, or not being good enough. We see success celebrated and mistakes criticized. So our brains tag failure. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the journey. One good way to reframe it is to treat failure as ask, what did this teach me? Instead of what's wrong with me. Start small, reflect after setbacks, and focus more on not perfection. Over time, this flips fear into curiosity, and that makes growth possible.
Is failure actually necessary for success, or can someone become successful without experiencing major setbacks?
Checking. That's a thoughtful question. Necessary, but most people encounter setbacks because setbacks teach lessons success alone doesn't. You don't hear, but learning from your own mistakes and from others' experiences helps avoid unnecessary setbacks. In the end, learn and adapt that drives success.
What are the biggest life lessons that failure teaches us which success often cannot?
Checking. Excellent question. Lessons come from failure, not success. Humility, resilience, better problem solving, patience, and perseverance. Failure builds empathy too, making us more understanding of others who struggle. Success tells us what worked, but failure teaches needs to change. Those lessons often leave a deeper, longer impact on our growth.
How can we distinguish between a temporary setback and a sign that we should change our direction or strategy?
Checking. That's a very practical question. A temporary setback often means you need better preparation, new skill, support, but the same direction still makes sense. A sign to rethink direction is when, even after learning and reflecting, no longer fit your values, strengths, or vision. Ask yourself, what caused the setback? What did I learn? If in this goal, if your passion is still there, improve strategy, not direction. If your interests have genuinely shifted, action is a wise decision, not a defeat. The key is don't quit just because it's hard. Pivot only when thoughtful, better fit path.
What practical steps should someone take immediately after experiencing a major failure, whether in studies, career, or business?
Checking. That's an important question. First, pause and accept what happened, acting impulsively. Next, look objectively at what went wrong, seeking lessons, not blame. Ask for from trusted people. Then make a simple action plan. Small, doable steps rebuild momentum and take care of being. Remember, failure is an event, not your identity. Don't let it be the end of your story.
How can we rebuild confidence after repeated failures and avoid losing motivation?
Checking. Very relevant. After repeated failures, protect your identity from your results. Focus on small wins. Shift the question from fail to what is this teaching me? Build a support system of mentors and friends and care for your body and mind. Persist often what separates those who eventually succeed. Keep learning, adapting, and moving forward.
Can you share example of well-known individuals whose failures eventually become stepping stones to extraordinary success?
Absolutely. A really well-known example is Thomas Edison. He famously failed thousands of times before inventing the practical light bulb. Another is Michael Jordan. He didn't make his high school basketball team at first, but that rejection drove him to be one of the greatest players ever. And Oprah Winfrey, too. She was fired from her first TV job, but she didn't give up. Instead, she built a media empire. So these failures didn't define them, they fueled their success in the long run. Of course. Take Walt Disney, for instance. He was fired because they said he lacked imagination, and his first animation company even went bankrupt. Or look at Albert Einstein. He was considered slow as a child and faced rejection from universities. And even Beyoncé, she was part of a group that got dropped by a label before she became a global superstar. So in each case, their initial failures were just chapters leading to bigger things.
What role does resilience play in overcoming failure, and how can people develop resilience in their daily life?
Resilience is absolutely crucial. It's that inner strength that lets you bounce back after setbacks. People build it by reframing failures as learning opportunities, staying connected to a support network, setting realistic goals, and practicing self-care. Over time, it just makes them more adaptable and confident when challenges come. So when we think about how students and young professionals can develop a healthy attitude toward mistakes, it really starts with changing the narrative they have about failure. Instead of seeing mistakes as a reflection of their worth or intelligence, they can view them as crucial feedback, signposts on a journey toward mastery. By reflecting on mistakes, asking for constructive feedback, and staying keen, they can build resilience. Also, a growth mindset is essential, believing that their abilities can develop with effort and practice. And when we bring in supportive mentors, a safe environment to take risks, and a focus on progress over perfection, that's when young people really flourish.
How can students and young professionals develop a healthy attitude towards making mistakes while still striving for excellence?
That's a really important balance. I think it starts with reframing mistakes as essential learning tools, not just proof of failure. Students and young professionals can adopt a growth mindset, seeing each mistake as a concrete step toward mastery. It's also helpful if mentors or educational environments emphasize effort over innate talent, so they know it's okay to stumble. And by setting realistic incremental goals, they can keep striving for excellence without the fear of mistakes holding them back. For instance, think about Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Early on, she faced countless rejections, but she treated each one as a lesson, eventually building $1 billion brand. Or consider James Dyson. He went through thousands of prototypes before creating his successful vacuum cleaner. And even in tech, consider the early career of Arianna Huffington. She was rejected by publishers many times before she launched the Huffington Post. These examples show that each failure was really just a pivot toward eventual success.
How can organizations and education institutions create an environment where people learn from failure instead of fearing it?
That's a great question. It really starts with leadership. Organizations and educational institutions need to model vulnerability themselves. Leaders sharing their own setbacks, showing that failure is just a natural part of growth. They can also create structured reflection. After projects, encourage open conversations about what went wrong and what was learned. Plus, they can celebrate effort and experimentation, not just results. And by creating a safe space, no fear of harsh punishment, people feel free to take risks, knowing they can grow from them.
How can we transform criticism and negative feedback into opportunities for personal and professional growth?
Of course. So, for example, if a student receives critical feedback on a project, instead of feeling defeated, they can break down the comments, identify specific areas to improve, and set a plan to address them. In a professional setting, imagine a manager who receives tough performance feedback. They might ask for specific examples, seek mentoring, and view the criticism as a roadmap for acquiring new skills. Over time, that openness turns feedback into a catalyst for growth and success.
Finally, if you could give me just three powerful pieces of advice to anyone currently facing failure or disappointment, what would they be?
First, reframe failure as a teacher. Every setback is data, a chance to learn what works and what doesn't. Second, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend, understanding that everyone stumbles. Third, stay connected. Reach out to mentors, peers, or a support network because their perspective can help you see possibilities you might have missed. Fourth, set small, achievable goals. Don't try to fix everything at once. So, for reframing failure, think of Michael Jordan. He missed countless shots before he became a legend. For self-compassion, consider someone like Elizabeth Gilbert. After a major book flop, she was really kind to herself, which gave her the space to write again. Staying connected, think of Sheryl Sandberg. After losing her husband, she leaned on her community, which helped her through grief and growth. Setting small goals, consider J.K. Rowling. After rejection, she broke down writing into daily practice. And for a long-term vision, think of Steve Jobs. His setbacks didn't derail him, they guided him toward his future innovations.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for sharing these valuable insights. I hope today's discussions help everyone realize that failure is not to the end of journey. It is often the beginning of growth, innovation, and future success. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Take care. Till next time. Allah Hafiz.